The Dark Elves Chosen by Celeste King. Episode 3. If you don't want the story to stop and can't wait till the next episode comes to YouTube, you can buy the ebooks from worldsofprotheka.com. If you like the episode but wish that you had the steamy scenes too, you can get that from worldsofprotheka.com as well. Use discount code YouTube30 to get 30% off all digital products. And stay tuned after this episode for an interview with the characters about the story. Chapter 21. Julius. This time when I wake up, I have a headache, but at least I haven't lost any more clothes. However, my arms and legs are bound against the wall. I'm in a dungeon of some sort. "Ah, we are awake!" a voice calls out. It sounds familiar. My ears perk up and I look over at the figure that approaches. When I see him, I can't help but gasp. "Dukan," I say silently. "That's Lord Dukan to you," he says. "Your position in this world is falling fast. It would do you well to respect your betters." "There is no way you are my better," I say with contempt. "I will soon be the strongest wielder of fire magic in Orthani," he says. "But that's not all. My magical abilities will encompass more than just fire. I will be the right hand to the king. Maybe one day I will even be king. Who knows?" "You're delusional if you think I'll let you usurp me," I say with loathing. "If anything, once the court finds out about your sister, you'll be lucky if you're not working in the mines." "Ah, but you think you have a choice in this matter," Dukan says with a smile. "You see, you think you're going to go and tell the world about my sister, aren't I? You don't realize that my men have been following you since the Blue Dolphin," he continues, "and that as soon as you ended up in the homeless quarter, they grabbed you after your fight with some degenerates. And most of all, you seem to think that your word will hold any weight with anyone after you leave here," Dukan says with a chuckle. "Laugh now, Dukan," I say. "Your father thought I was dead. Not even a demon from Arasak is strong enough to kill me." "I don't care if you die or not," Dukan says. "In fact, it'll be better if you remain alive, to remember what you lost." "You know what, Dukan?" I say. "I'm going to enjoy burning you to a cinder." Dukan chuckles. "Oh, Julius. Always so full of fire. But let me tell you something, my dear Julius. You are nothing to me. Nothing but a pawn in my game." I grit my teeth. "You're the one who's going to regret underestimating me." Dukan's expression turns slightly serious. "I may have not as much power as you right now, but that is soon to change. You see, I have something very special planned for you." I raise an eyebrow. "And what is that?" "You see, Julius, I have been studying your magical abilities, and I have come to realize that you possess a unique power that I have been seeking for many years. A power that will make me the most powerful sorcerer in Orthani." Dukan reveals a crystal that glows ominously in his hand. "I'm not going to help you with your twisted ambitions," I sneer. "Oh, I think you will," Dukan says smoothly. "I have ways of making people cooperate." Dukan raises the crystal and it begins to glow even brighter. It seems to pulse with red, evil energy. I watch as Dukan raises the crystal. It starts to glow an ominous yellow-green, which is then funneled through his hand and into his core. I feel a pain throughout my body as my own magic is siphoned away through my ears. I feel like I've just been drenched in a bucket of ice-cold water. My skin feels like it is on fire. I try to fight it, but it's no use. Dukan's magic is too strong. The metallic taste of blood fills my mouth, and I go limp as my muscles spasm and my bones feel afire. The sensation of raw power in my mouth is starting to overwhelm me. My eyes are watering as my throat closes. I feel the pain of 100 bee stings, the sensation of red-hot metal dropped into my arms and legs. I feel an intense burning sensation throughout my body, as if I've just been branded with a hot iron. As the crystal drains me of my magical power, I wonder what Dukan has planned for me. Is it worth sacrificing my magical abilities for? But as the pain intensifies, I realize that I don't have a choice in the matter. I'm becoming weaker by the second, and there's nothing I can do to stop it. Dukan seems pleased with himself, a smile playing on his lips as he continues to drain me of my power. And then, just as suddenly as it started, he stops. "There, that should do it," he says, looking at the crystal. "You won't be able to cast a single spell now, Julius. It's all mine." I test out my magic, but he's right. I can't call upon even the slightest bit of magic. I'm powerless. Dukan turns to his men. "Take him away. We'll sell him to the convoy leaving for Foig. They'll pay good gold for a well-fed man in chains who can work the mines." As they drag me away, I can't help but wonder what will become of me. Will I ever be able to regain my abilities? Will I ever be free again? All I know is that I'm at the mercy of Dukan and his twisted plans.
Chapter 22. Savannah. That's the last of your suitcases that have been loaded, my lady. Gilna, the dark elf handmaiden that my dad assigned to accompany me on this trip, says to me as she gets into the carriage with me. "The Zagfa was ready to fall after loading up all your clothes." I try to smile, but truth be told, I'm still in shock. I glimpse my family home disappear as Gilna pulls the curtains closed. The carriage jolts and sways beneath me, the roughness of the road amplifying my unease as I leave behind the only home I've ever known. I only saw a little bit of Orthani, and I met an elf who made my heart stop. But he's dead now, and I'm being sent away from what little I ever got to know. The familiar scent of Gilna's perfume offers a small comfort, but the stinging absence of Julius weighs heavily on my chest. The image of his lifeless body torments me. I try not to cry, but fear I will. "Are you all right, milady?" Gilna asks, her voice full of concern. "I'm fine," I lie, forcing a smile onto my face. Deep down, though, I can't help but feel a gnawing worry about what lies ahead. Nagaland is rough. It's wild. I've heard stories of how the Naga princes prey on the two-legged. I've read about their two cocks. The sexual games that they play with their slaves is enough to make me tremble in fear. The overland journey to Voig should take over a week, with stops along the way. I know each moment I will be racked with anxiety about the fearsome Naga. Through a small crack in the carriage curtains, I spot the dark elf soldiers accompanying us on this journey. I watch for hours as we leave Orthani behind us and enter the bleak, cold countryside of Oshta. I peek out and look up in awe at the huge, icy mountain peaks that now surround us. My eyes turn toward the soldiers that walk beside our carriage. I lean closer to observe them. Their faces are shadowed by the grime from the road. Their eyes are hardened and cruel. They speak in hushed, guttural tones, unaware that I'm listening. "Who is she? Some sort of noble?" one of them sneers, casting a sidelong glance at our carriage. I quickly close the curtain. I wait, then slowly open the curtain a little again. "Do you think she's pretty?" Another one asks, licking his lips. Another responds with a harsh laugh. "Why? You think she'll fall in love with you? Or perhaps make the beast with you?" Another says. "Only if she likes rancid cock," another mocks. The elves laugh dark cackles that hurt my ears. "I hear she's not just a noble," another elf says, "but that whoever is her protector is favoured of the deceiver." "The deceiver can suck my cock," the first elf says. "Never thought I'd see the day when I'm on my feet and a fucking human is in the carriage." "I hear you," another agrees. "If she weren't protected, we'd have fucked her twice each and sold her for some ale money." The rawness of their words sends a shiver down my spine. Can't even imagine the disgusting things they'd do to me given half a chance. I close the curtain tight. "Vile creatures," I mutter under my breath. I notice Gilna has been watching me, and I wonder why my father chose her to come along. We aren't exactly close. Perhaps that is the reason. My thoughts shift back to Nagaland. These elves are my only protection, and that's not saying much. I need to start planning for taking care of me. No one else is going to take care of me. But first, I need information. "Have you ever been to Nagaland, Gilna?" I ask, hoping to glean some insight from her experiences. "No," she replies, "but I've heard the stories. Tell me more," I urge, eager for any information that might help prepare me. Gilner leans in, her voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. Well, I've heard they eat babies and fornicate with beasts. Really? I gasp, torn between horror and disbelief. Of course not, Gilner chuckles, seeing the shock on my face. You'll be treated well there, don't worry. I don't trust her. She's trying to keep me calm. I see Gilner eyeing me. It's entirely possible she's reporting back to my father. I know I can't trust anyone. I need to keep her from suspecting anything about me. I need to play the airhead. Did you make sure to pack all my dresses? I tease, attempting to lighten the mood. All, Gilner replies firmly, and closes her eyes tightly, no doubt pretending to sleep. I am left with my thoughts again, and they turn to Julius. How he was able to calmly allow Julius's dead body to be taken away. The man I thought I knew was not it. When he sat there in front of me, his eyes were cold and calculating as he sent me away. Are they using me as some pawn in a dark elf game? The carriage abruptly stops, and I jolt forward in my seat. I hear the raised voices of the soldiers. Attack! We're under attack! I hear an elf yell out. Gilner's eyes shoot open. Get down! Quick, on the floor, she commands. I do as she says, and fall to the floor. My heart races as I put my hands over my ears, trying to block out the sounds of elf screams outside. Then I watch Gilner slip out the carriage door, closing it softly behind her. I am alone. I close my eyes in horror.
Chapter 23. Julius. I find myself slumped in the damp corner of this wretched cell, my body weak and weary from the draining of my once powerful magic. It feels like I've been stripped of my being, leaving me vulnerable and exposed. The cold stone beneath me offers no comfort, and the air is heavy with the stench of piss and shit. Fuck, I mutter under my breath, tasting the bitterness of defeat. I clench my fists, nails digging into my palms, as thoughts of revenge consume my mind. How did my masterful mind let me down and bring me to this point? More importantly, how the blazes do I get out? My captors think they've won, that they've broken me down, but they're sorely mistaken. Every fiber of my being screams for retribution, and I'll not rest until I've made them suffer tenfold. You are Julius Rosenfire, I remind myself, and even without my magical abilities, I am resourceful, cunning, and unyielding in my determination. Fire magic steward of Orthani. Your family controls the Neptherium refining in central Ashta. Your clan dates back to the founding of the city. You are second to none in magic, and you will prevail. You will escape. As I mull over possible escape plans, I can't help but imagine the look on Dukin's and that shit Friedman's face when they realize their mistake, thinking they could dispose of me so easily. I'll take pleasure in making them squirm, picking apart their precious little power they've acquired piece by piece until there's nothing left but ash. And Savannah? I think of sweet, sweet Savannah. I wonder what they have done with her. She's nothing more than a dirty secret to both them. The bastards. I may be here, but my soul is with her. Now, alone and no further to fall, I must admit my feelings. Yes, I was going to use her, and if given the chance, I still would. But something about that sweet, beautiful face. I would love to make her my pet. Maybe I still will. Once I am free, I will go back and find her. But of course, her as my prize, I am sure, would inflict added pain on her father. I will show Savannah what her father is capable of doing, and then I will show her father what I plan to do with her daughter. I doubt he will care. If he cared enough, he would have taken care to register her presence. But he wanted power instead. I will have my fucking vengeance on how he has kept her. The sound of approaching footsteps rouses me from my thoughts. Coming closer, the voices grow louder, echoing through the damp dungeon corridors. The heavy iron door creaks open, and in walk two men. One is Dukon's lackey from before, his smug expression making my blood boil. The other is a sly-looking dark elf with silver hair and piercing black eyes. His gaze feels like it's peeling back the layers of my soul, laying bare my every secret. I suppress a shiver, refusing to show any sign of weakness. Fanar, the dark elf introduces himself, his voice as smooth and cold as ice. And you must be Julius Rosenfire. Fuck off, I spit back, unwilling to give him even the smallest satisfaction. Fanar raises a thin eyebrow, a wicked smile playing at the corners of his lips. Really? Is that how you greet your potential savior? He taunts, circling me like a predator. I force myself to remain still, my eyes locked on his. Interesting offer you made here, Fanar muses, turning to Dukan's man. Giving this elf away for free? What's the catch? Nothing's free, Dukan's lackey replies, a sneer forming on his face. We have but one condition. Julius Rosenfire must disappear. For good. Ah, I see, Fanar murmurs, his eyes glinting maliciously. Well, I assure you, when I'm done with him, there won't be anything left worth finding. Good, the lackey says, satisfied. Arrogant little shit he is. I've heard, Fanar replies, his grin widening. At the sound of their twisted deal, I can't help but laugh. Falar's eyes narrow as he studies me, his gaze piercing through my weakened state. Find something amusing, Faye? He asks, his voice dripping with venom. Only the absurdity of you two thinking you have any power over me, I retort, grinning at them both. Falar's expression darkens and he steps closer, peering into my eyes. How did you manage to end up in this predicament? A powerful mage like yourself? I'm here for the delightful company, I grin. They won't see me crack. Ah, yes, Falar says thoughtfully. You're quite the skilled liar, aren't you? Talk is cheap, I snap back, my anger rising. Like your shoes. I watch his face turn red with rage. I have him. Idiot. Turning to Dukan's man, Falar says, I promise you, after I'm done with him, Julius Rosenfire will be a name erased from existence. You hear that? Dukan's lackey sneers at me, satisfaction etched across his face. Erased? I feel the blow on the side of my head, but know not what dealt it. All I know now is darkness.
Chapter 24. Savannah. It's gone quiet. I slowly open my eyes and fear the worst. My heart beats fast. I fear it may leap out of my mouth. And what of Gilna? Why did she go outside? I wonder and fear what fate she may have suffered, and what now awaits me. I hear a cough and some talk. It is High Ortheni dialect, but it is too faint. Then the carriage handle begins to open, and I hold my breath as the door slowly opens. It is Gilna. I jump up, overjoyed to see her safe and well. You're well, I exclaim. Gilna smiles at me. Nothing to worry about, milady. It didn't sound like that to me, I tell her. Just a few dirty orc raiders, that's all, she said calmly. Why did you go out there? It was dangerous. I snap at her. For them, yes, Gilna tells me with a smile. Now relax. We'll be on our way to Voig soon. And there's a rest cabin that we can find shelter at in an hour or so, I'm told. Gilna is lying to me. But I don't know if this is where I should press or if I should bide my time. As the carriage began to move again, my eyes grow heavy and I fall asleep to its gentle sway. Here we are, milady, Gilna says, gently waking me. I open my eyes and brush off the sleep from my mind. It's dark. I'll escort you inside, Gilna tells me, and I obey. As we descend from the carriage, I glance around at the rest area where we have arrived. It is several cabins, stables, and 2 inns. Another more sinister tavern sits off to the side. I look at it. That is not for you, milady, Gilna says. I see the look in her eyes. It's a whorehouse for the soldiers. I nod in understanding and follow her. There is a dark lake that the rest area is built around. I can tell that it serves as the chief source of food for this little encampment, as well as its bathroom. The air smells of dead fish and sweat. I pull my handkerchief from my pocket and place it over my nose. In the distance, I can hear the shouts and laughter coming from the tavern. A shrill scream of a woman follows. All it would be is a twist of fate, And that could be me, Gilner, I say with an air of melancholy. Let's get you inside before we start crying to the hearthkeeper, Gilner says with resolve. The guards have gone and Gilner leads me to the door of a large wooden house. As we enter, the damp cold hits my face, a chill runs down my spine, and I can't help but shiver at the thought of spending the night within these cold, unwelcoming walls. Stay close to me, Gilner whispers, leading me through a dimly lit, narrow passageway that snakes through the house. The sense of urgency in her movements is palpable, and I can tell that she's just as eager as I am to remain unseen. I find myself gripping her arm tightly as we navigate the twisting corridors. The silence is deafening, punctuated only by the echo of our footsteps and the distant, muffled sounds of soldiers going about their duties. Finally, we round a corner and come to a stop before a small, unassuming door tucked away in the shadows. Gilner produces a key from within her cloak and unlocks the door, pushing it open with a creak that seems to reverberate through my very soul. Here we are, she says softly, ushering me inside. As I step into the room, I can't help but notice its stark contrast to the luxury of my family home. The furnishings are sparse and functional, the walls devoid of any decoration or warmth. The stone walls are cold to the touch and unadorned, a far cry from the rich tapestries and ornate wood carvings that grace the halls of my family's estate. A narrow bed, dressed with plain linens, occupies one corner of the room, while a small table and an equally unassuming chair sit nearby. I suppose it will have to do, I remark, forcing a smile as I try to find some humour in the situation. Gilner opens a small bag she carried in from the carriage and places a nightgown on the bed, rubbing it smooth with her hand. You should get some rest, Savannah. We'll be on the road again very early tomorrow, most likely before the sun rises, Gilner tells me. So soon? I ask her. Time waits for no elf, milady. She places a comforting hand on my shoulder, her eyes full of rare empathy. I nod, swallowing the lump that has formed in my throat. I will. Thank you, Gilner. I miss Orthani. A few days ago when we left, I wish I'd picked some flowers from the city gates. Aye, but we'll go back one day, milady, she says, her eyes not meeting mine. You'll get your flowers then. I watch her back out of the room, close the door, and listen to the turn of a key. I strip off my travel-stained garments, replacing them with a simple nightgown that seems to mirror the austerity of the room. As I slide between the coarse sheets, I find myself longing for the soft silks and plush down-stuffed pillows that adorned my bed back home. But such luxuries have no place here, and I force myself to accept this new reality. I close my eyes, willing myself to find sleep amidst the unfamiliar darkness. The uncertainty of what lies ahead churns within me like a raging storm. I think about Julius. How would that kiss have tasted? How would his arms have felt around me? Oh, I can't help it. I stare off at the ceiling, thinking of his arms. Those eyes were so soulful. Those arms would have held me. Why did my father hate him so? Hate him enough to kill him? The sounds of shouting jolt me awake. My heart pounds in my chest as I rush to the window, peering out at the scene playing out below. The dark elf soldiers have brought out a group of human slaves, their guttural voices raised in anger and bloodlust. Their violent blows and savage kicks send the helpless humans sprawling, screaming in pain and terror. Get back in line, scum! Water period is over. Time to go back to the barn. One soldier snarls, spittle flying from his lips. Please, mercy, gasps a frail old man, blood streaming down his face. Mercy. Another soldier laughs cruelly, his eyes alight with malice as he hits the man in the face with the flat of his axe. You'll find no mercy here. A mix of horror and fury surges through me at the sight of such brutality. The old man lies on the ground, twitching two other elves carry him away to who knows where. These people don't deserve this treatment. And yet here they are, suffering at the hands of these merciless dark elves. As I watch, my breath catches in my throat. Among the huddled, beaten slaves, I spot the figure of another elf. He's been beaten, but his body does not look broken. He is hunched over, but you can tell he still feels as if he is in command, as if he is biding his time. You want what he's having? A guard growls at the commanding figure. Fuck you, the figure retorts back. The guard takes his helmet and swipes at him. He doesn't flinch. Now get moving, my lord. Your castle awaits. Several jeers join in as the elf follows the line of prisoners going back the way they came from. I look closer, focusing my eyes on the figure. I've been looking as long as I have, and now I'm sure of it. The bearing, the cool, icy condescension, the voice. Julius, I whisper to the cold room, you're alive.
Chapter 25. Julius. Drink up, pretties, the voice calls out. Water break is almost over. The whip cracks and searing pain ignites across my back, tearing me from the darkness of unconsciousness. I gasp, choking on the putrid air that fills my lungs as I try to figure out where I am. Move it, scum! A gruff voice snarls in my ear, followed by another lash that sends fire racing down my spine. My vision swims into focus, and I find myself being pushed towards the barn we were let out of, surrounded by filthy, bruised bodies. Human slaves, their eyes hollow, stare back at me. The sickening realization that I am one of them now grips my stomach like a vice. It has been several days since I left the dungeons, or it has been only a few. I do not know. Time has lost all meaning. Get moving or you'll get another taste of the whip! The same voice barks, his cold eyes filled with contempt. Do your worst, I growl, my anger bubbling despite the fear festering within me. The other slaves exchange worried glances, their eyes darting between me and the slaver. Brave words for a bastard dark elf, he sneers, bringing the whip down again. I bite back a scream, refusing to give him the satisfaction of knowing the extent of my pain. My hands clench into fists, nails digging into my palms. Who do you think you are? A man beside me snarls. His face is a map of cuts and bruises, but the rage burning in his eyes tells me he hasn't given up yet. Better than you, human, I spit through gritted teeth. Rough elf hands seize me, hauling me out of the wagon with a force that leaves me gasping for air. The other captives are treated no differently. Each of us yanked and shoved into line like cattle. Move! A dark elf snarls as he lashes a whip across my back once more. My body spasms involuntarily, but I grit my teeth and stumble forward. The chains binding us clank and rattle with every step, a cruel reminder of our captivity. Get back in line, scum! One soldier snarls at an old man, spit flying from his lips. Please, mercy, gasps a frail old man, blood streaming down his face. Mercy! Another soldier laughs cruelly, his eyes alight with malice. You'll find no mercy here. You want what he's having? A dark elf guard asks me. I have no use for this one. Fuck you, I reply. He responds by hitting me with his helmet. Blood spurts out of my mouth, but I refuse to wince in pain to give him the satisfaction. Now get moving, my lord. Your castle awaits. As we march through the rest area towards the barn they are keeping us in, I marvel at how this looks from the perspective of a slave. Many a time I've ridden through the Tramna rest stop on the road to Voig, where I am now. But it was always on the back of a horse, in a carriage, or even flying on a griffin. Now I am being carted as property, sold by Dukan to a flesh dealer who is transporting me to who knows where. The air grows colder and the sky darker. My body aches with every step, and my mind races with thoughts of escape and vengeance. A barn looms before us. As we're shoved inside, the cold dampness of the air envelops me like a shroud, sending shivers down my spine. Water drips from the roof, splattering onto my head and rolling down my face. Keep moving, filth! A dark elf guard barks, kicking at our heels as we shuffle deeper into the darkness. Is this it? I mutter to myself, taking in the squalor of the cramped space. Is this where you plan to keep us? I start toward him. Watch your mouth or I'll rip it off. One of the dark elf guards snarls, yanking on the chain that connects us, forcing me back into place. The moment the door slams shut behind our captors, silence fills the barn. It's broken only by the sound of an old man sobbing in the corner. Shut up, old man, a gruff voice snarls from across the room. Crying ain't gonna help no one. The old man does what he is told, and silence returns again. It's cold, and I should not be here among this filthy lot. Oi, you! A gruff voice barks in my direction. What's a bastard dark elf like you doing among us humans? Does it matter? I retort, my heart racing. Yes! Another slave spits out, hate oozing from his words. You're one of them, aren't you? The same ones who took our families, our homes. You think we're just gonna let that slide? Probably. You are human after all, I tell him with a smirk. Fuck off! Someone else roars, the sound ricocheting off the walls of the barn. Once these chains are off, we'll make you pay for what your kind has done. If I only had my magic, I'd rain fire upon all of them. That bastard took it from me. The memories start to flood back into my head. Fuck waiting, a large human man with thick muscles says, moving closer to me. We'll make him pay now. The chains around my wrists chafe, digging into my skin as I clench my fists. The weight of the shackles drags me down, but I, Julius, will rise again. And I will have revenge. But right now I need to survive the human coming for me. Chapter 26. Julius. What is it you think I should pay for? I demand of the human prowling toward me. With my magic, he'd be no match for me. But without, this behemoth of a man is more than just a minor threat. My words cause an ugly sneer to stretch across the man's face. You should pay for the pain of my people. You see us all as one and the same, animals to be used. We've been stuck with your lot for centuries. But now, you're the one who's stuck with us. Jeers rise from the humans around us, their sweaty, fetid bodies leaning closer, drawn in by the promise of violence. My mind works frantically as I try to figure out a way out of this. Muscle is no use here. Between the chains and the human in front of me, I'm thoroughly outdone in that department. Wits it is, then. And what good would the payment of my blood be? I ask as the man starts forward again. He doesn't stop this time, although I catch the slight hesitation before he continues to close the distance between us. What good would my blood be, I say again, when I could offer you something so much more enticing? You're here with us. Clearly you have nothing to offer, a faceless voice shouts from the crowd. I bite back a growl of frustration at the truth of their words, but keep my eyes on the man. I could get you out. All of you. A pair of large, rough hands grip the front of my tunic, hauling me nose to nose with my would-be attacker. Liar, he hisses, rotten breath curling around my nose. Coward, I sneer back, unable to help the words before they leap off the tip of my tongue. No sooner have I said them. Dew stars dance across my vision, quickly followed by a near-blinding blast of pain. Blood leaks into my eyes as I stumble back, laughter and jeers rising from the crowd of humans as I half-slump against the wall behind me. The human man doesn't look fazed by the impact of our headbutt, instead grinning malevolently at me as he starts forward again. I snarl at him, straightening myself out and conjuring every last bit of dignity I was bred for. If you want out, I'm your only shot. Take it if you have the spine. Otherwise, I'll gladly rip yours out with my bare hands. For the first time since this interaction began, fear flashes in the features of the human man in front of me. Perhaps it's the product of the generations of enslavement his people have endured. Perhaps the product of a more personal trauma. Or perhaps he finally knows what's good for him. You can't do shit here, he responds, but his words hold less bite. You don't know that, and I'm offering you a much better option, I reason, chancing a step forward. Despite the mounting tension in the air between us, the crowd we had drawn begins to disperse, humans listlessly drifting away like ghosts, as though the promise of violence was the only thing tethering them to consciousness. Not the man, though. While he certainly has a propensity for bloodshed, something sparks in his gaze that makes me wonder what exactly this human man is truly capable of. What could you possibly do to get me out? Me? Have you forsaken your brethren so quickly? The man scoffs. This lot has no use for freedom. They wouldn't know what to do with it anymore. And you would? Oh yes, he says, something sinister twisting in his smile. I have plenty of debts to repay. Somehow I don't doubt that, I say, eyeing the raised scars covering his body, visible even in this dim light. Kitson, he says. I look at him blankly. My name is Kitson, the human tells me. My name is Julius, I say, and I will help you. I will hold you to your word, elf, Kitson says. Tomorrow when we begin our journey again, I will see if you mean what you say. But if you think you can lie, know that I will snap your neck with my 2 hands by sundown. You wouldn't last a second if I had my magic, I begin. But you don't, he interrupts. And now you must show me why I choose to let you live. He walks away, and I know I've gotten a reprieve. But for how long?
Chapter 27. Savannah. All night I tossed and turned, and now somehow I'm awake, with only one thought. He's dead. I saw him die with my own 2 eyes. That couldn't have been him. Could it? I look out the window, retracing every single thing I saw. My breath catches in my chest as my heart begins to thunder. What if it was him? If he was here? What if he wasn't dead after all? He's a powerful elf. Surely there must be some way that he could have won out, that it could have looked to me that he was dead without being true. I hear the key to the door begin to rattle. That'll be Gilner. It must be time to go, although why we would leave this early is beyond me. It's not even time for breakfast yet. The sun is just barely starting its ascent. Are we that pressed for time? I fling myself back on my bed, burying myself under the thin blankets and squeezing my eyes shut in a mockery of sleep. The door bangs open hardly a breath later, startling me so badly that I shoot nearly straight up. Apologies, milady, but our plans have changed, Gilner says somewhat breathlessly. She's so preoccupied that I don't even bother to feign exhaustion, not that I think I could have done so convincingly anyhow. Why? What's happened? I demand, my heart inflating in my chest. Is it because she's discovered Julius is alive? Could he be fighting his way to me at this very second? Nothing for you to worry yourself about, but we must move quickly this morning. Time is of the essence. I open my mouth to argue her point, but my voice dies in my throat at the look she cuts me. Instead, she shoves a piece of still warm bread and a wedge of hard cheese into my lap. Eat, she commands as she turns, crossing toward the rickety wardrobe in the corner. Perhaps it's the exhaustion, or perhaps the emotional turmoil of all of this excitement, but I'm starving. It takes me mere minutes to finish the meal in my hands, and it's only as I'm taking my final bites that it occurs to me how strange it is for Gilner to have forgone the proper utensils. Whatever is worrying her must be grave indeed. Come on then, get up, we haven't a minute to waste, Gilner chides as she turns back to me. She's set out another set of travelling clothes, and I can't help the small groan that escapes me at the sight of the restrictive garments. Savannah, Gilner says sharply. Her hands land on my shoulders, and I'm so surprised by the rare contact that I don't think to pull away when her face comes mere inches from mine. I know you do not like this, nor understand it, but you must understand this. You are in grave danger. You must move quickly, or else the worst will be upon us. Do you understand? I nod, unable to find my voice as a chill ricochets down my spine. Gilner gives me a solitary nod back, seemingly satisfied with the fear that must paint my face, and leaves the room. Focus, Savannah, I mutter under my breath as I hurriedly dress myself appropriately for our journey. The fabric clings to my body, making me feel more confined than ever. I long for the freedom to explore and discover the truth on my terms. Are you ready? Gilner calls from outside the room, her voice impatient. We need to get to the carriage. Hurry! Coming, I yell back, hastily finishing up. What if Julius is alive? And so close to me, here of all places. I can't give up. I can't get back on the road if he's being held here. I need to find him. But how? I see the window of my quarters. It's on the 2nd floor, but I think I could open it and climb out. I go towards the window and give it a push. It gives way, enough for me to squeeze through. I've done it once before and it led me to Julius. Why not once more?
Chapter 28. Julius. The doors suddenly open, and a few of the guards enter cracking their whips. What sleep I got last night did nothing to rejuvenate me. It almost feels as if the cold floor took out even more energy. "Let's go, you fucking shits, move it!" one of them hisses at us. And we struggle to our feet. My limbs feel like ice, my body numb from the night spent shivering on the cold stone floor of the barn. The guards prod us with weapons, forcing our weary bodies to move toward the water break. Each step is a battle, but I refuse to let them see me falter. We trudge out of the barn towards the rest stop. "Move it, scum! We have a lot of ground to cover," one of the guards sneers, jabbing his spear into the back of a man who stumbles forward. "Drink your water before we march." "Please," he begs, gasping for breath. "I can't walk." "As much as I'd like to see you dead, the mines need you alive," the guard replies. "Now move it," another of the dark elves shouts, kicking the man forward. The daylight hurts, and my feet feel the freezing mud that oozes into my shoes. But I'm thirsty, so I do as I'm told, and walk across the bleak courtyard to the trough of water that awaits us. This is where we came last night. Today we will probably continue our march. I look around. As we kneel like animals, unable to use our hands that are shackled together, we suck the water up with our mouths. I picture myself above, looking down at this scene, and I take a mental picture to remind me of what they have done to me. "Enough! You greedy dogs!" one of the guards shouts as he brings a whip to a prisoner's back. I stand up quickly. I'm not in the mood this morning for another whipping. I look around the camp as the other prisoners struggle to their feet and notice a figure at the window of a small wooden house. The window opens to reveal what I know is the shape of a woman, a sight to stiffen an elf, even in this condition. But what is she doing? I watch as the woman throws her legs out the window. She pauses there for a second, looking around and then down. Then I realize who the woman is. By the deceiver. It's not possible. Out of all the beings that live on glorious Protheka, it's Savannah. But how? Why is she here? And what by the deceiver is she escaping? What horror are they tormenting her with? My breath catches in my throat, desire and hope surging like wildfire. I'm unable to tear my eyes away from her. I feel an overwhelming urge to be with her. It's as if fate has intervened, showing me the path I must take. Another prisoner has noticed as well. "That's not going to end well for her," he murmurs. I cut him a look to rip out his soul. I turn to see Kitson staring along with me. My eyes flick back to Savannah, who has lowered herself from the window. She lands gracefully on the ground. She stops and notices us, and she looks directly at me. "Please, see me. See him just across the courtyard, longing to be free and with you." She pauses too long, staring at me, and at that moment I know she sees me. "Run, Savannah. Go now, quickly." But yet, she doesn't. She simply stares at me. I feel her pulling at me, wanting me to do something. But what's this? A woman rushes through the door of the building. She goes to Savannah. She's shouting at her. "Stop it. Leave her be." I watch as Savannah tries to resist her grip. I must help her. I must get to her. "Move it!" one of the guards shouts. The chains yank at me, but I am frozen to the spot. I will not leave her. I see her look towards me, holding out her hand for help. There has to be some reason I'm seeing her. We were brought together for something. I'm not letting her away from my sight. I gently nudge Kitson beside me with my foot and feel him ready himself. "Move!" the guard yells in my ear. But I will not leave without her. Then the whip cuts deep into my left arm. The pain is incredible, but not as deep as the pain of losing Savannah. "Bastard!" I yell at him. That's when he kicks me in the groin, and I drop to the ground. The pain screams through my body, and all I can hope for is hate to ease it. "Watch your step," a guard hisses in my ear, interrupting my thoughts. "We're always watching." "Good," I reply, my voice dripping with contempt. "Then you'll see firsthand when I tear this place apart." I look round at Kitson. He's waiting for a sign. He's been watching me all morning. Good. I can use him to create the distraction I need. I give him a nod and watch as he swings his chained hands into the face of the guard, and I let all hell break loose.
Chapter 29. Savannah. I can't move. I can't believe my eyes. Julius. It's Julius, and he's looking straight at me. He must know it is me. I feel he does. I now know that the future that my father has planned for me is not one that I can consider anymore. My life has changed since Julius, and further still with the thought that he may still be alive. I went through all my options as I lay awake through the night, and each one led to this moment, standing in the courtyard of an outpost in the middle of nowhere. How can it be any other way? He's alive, and both of us are in this moment now. It belongs only to us. I long to be by his side. I'm frightened, and I don't know what to do next, frozen in time. Only Julius can release me now. Julius Rosenfire, the man whose name has been etched into my heart since I thought him dead. I can't believe he's standing before me, but why is he bound in chains like an animal? Seeing him in such a state ignites something within me, pity, sorrow, and a desperate need to be by his side. "Savannah," Gilner's voice cuts through my thoughts, stern and commanding. "Come back inside, now." I shake my head, refusing to leave Julius to his fate. "No, I won't." Gilner's face contorts with frustration as she tries to pull me back, her grip like iron around my arm. "It's dangerous out here. You have no idea what you're getting yourself into." But I can't tear my gaze away from Julius, and I hold my hand out to him, willing him to take it, to let me help him. And then, chaos erupts. I see a human prisoner swing and hit one of the guards, who falls to the ground. Then Julius lunges at another guard, his chained fists connecting with brutal force. Suddenly, more humans take advantage of the situation, and the courtyard soon becomes a flurry of violence, swinging their shackled hands and strangling the guards with their chains. Blood begins to flow on the cold ground. "Savannah, come back inside," Gilner orders, but I can't help feeling like she's holding me back from being with Julius. As the fight rages around us, I can't tear my eyes away from Julius. "We can't be here, Savannah," Gilner pleads. "Come with me now." I can't hear her words. I must reach Julius, save him and me from this madness, but the knowledge that he's fighting for his life only serves to make my heart pound harder in my chest. I break free and try to rush to him. "Stay back," one of the dark elf guards snarls, brandishing a wicked-looking blade in our direction. "You listen to me," Gilner speaks, her eyes narrowing dangerously. Looking deep into his eyes, she says, "I order you to stand down." And he does. I rush past him. I must get to Julius. "Julius!" I shout, my voice desperate as I search for him amidst the chaos. The guards clash with the human prisoners, steel ringing against steel as blood stains the courtyard floor. "Savannah!" Julius shouts, momentarily breaking free from the brawl. His eyes meet mine, a fire burning within them that sends shivers down my spine. He's covered in sweat and grime, but there's an unmistakable determination etched across his handsome face. A guard lunges at us. "I've been waiting for this moment," he spits at Julius. "And so have I," Julius replies as he raises his hands, now free from the shackles. "How?" The guard is stunned. I watch in mingled horror and secret delight as Julius shows him a key in his grasp before he strikes the guard so hard his face explodes, blood covering me. He collapses to the ground. The guards notice and rush toward us. We are surrounded. Julius grabs me, and his tight grip sends shivers through my body. I feel board chest against my back, my legs loosen, and if it weren't for his grip, I would fall to the ground. "Stay back or I'll kill the bitch," Julius calls out. Does he mean me harm, or is this a wicked game? I feel a whisper in my ear. "Play along, my dear." "Release her," one of the guards demands. "Enough!" Gilner shouts, appearing from the chaos. The guards study her. "Leave them be," she says calmly. "Each of you will leave them be." And the guards listen, turning toward Gilner as though sucked in by some strange gravitational pull. "You will stand down, and this elf will suffer no more at your hands," she tells them. Like children, they hang on her every word. I feel Julius relax, and I miss his tight embrace immediately. I wonder about Gilner and her power over the guards. Who is she really? "You." Gilner's words are targeted at Julius. "You will leave this place and not return. You have your freedom, but not this woman." I feel Julius's breath on my neck and wonder what he will say. "I will not leave her side again," he tells her, and I store those words away forever. I look at Gilna and the anger that has formed on her face. Then you leave yourself no choice. Then it sounds. A horrible, tremoring tone that shakes every fibre of my being. I look around as the blood drains from the faces of those around me. What is it? I plead to Gilna, to Julius, to anyone who will listen. Then it sounds again. A most unwanted tone that seems to deliver nothing but fear. Then I hear voices, I hear the roars of battle cries. I look around, but there is only sound. An avalanche of hate seems to be approaching us from all sides. What is happening? I ask Julius, my only hope in all this. I feel Julius pull me close, and I listen as he tells me. Attack, he says. That's an orc war horn. The orcs are coming.
Chapter 30. Julius. We are fucked, is the first thought that comes to mind. The second is that I have to protect Savannah. My third is, how? The ball is not in my court, it would appear. Without magic or a weapon, I doubt my sharp-witted tongue and good looks will save us from this one. But you have to try at least, and that we will do. We both have a pair of legs, and now is a good time to think about using them. Listen to me, I tell Savannah, her scent overwhelming me to the point of nearly losing my focus. We have to run. Use all our skill and cunning, yes, but mostly run. Now is not the time for heroics. Understand? She turns and looks up at me. I will follow where you lead. Good choice, I tell her with a smile. A loud, grotesque roar fills the air as the orcs enter the outpost courtyard. Ugly bastards, each and every one. My heart races and I can feel my pulse throbbing in my ears. Savannah grabs my hand, her grip like iron. Stay close to me, I tell her as we begin what I hope will be our escape. The sight of dark elf guards fighting desperately is, quite frankly, a sorry sight to witness. Their movements may be elegant and precise, but they seem to be overwhelmed by the sheer brute force of the orcs. Elf after elf is cut down, sliced in half, or just fucking pounded down. This is not good. The ground is littered with broken bodies, lifeless eyes staring up at the sky as if begging for salvation that will never come. I do, however, regret that the revenge is not mine. My race was ready to see me as a human and inflict the same suffering on me as a human deserves. But not all, as I see Kitson, the only one with balls, the only one willing to fight with me. Kitson! I shout, my voice cracking as I spot the struggling human amidst the chaos. An orc's massive hand wraps around Kitson's throat, lifting him off the ground with ease. Let him go, you bastard! I shout, lunging forward, but my vain attempt at his rescue is futile without a weapon. The orc looks at me, death in his eyes and Kitson by the throat in his left hand. Please, Kitson gasps, his desperate eyes locked onto mine. Help me. The orc smiles, and I don't even wait to see what I know will happen next. As I grab Savannah to run, I see Kitson's body thrown to the side, broken. Fuck! I spit as we run. The sound echoes in my ears and will travel with me always, a constant reminder that I couldn't save the only human who had once saved me. Savannah and I find a place to hide, a crumbling wall, to catch our breath. Look at them, Savannah whispers, her voice tinged with disgust. My eyes follow her gaze, and I see the orcs tearing through the settlement like a pack of rabid animals. They rip doors from their hinges, smash windows, and loot everything they can get their filthy hands on. The destruction is sickening, but I can't help but notice that it's also creating an opportunity for us. Let's use this to our advantage, I say, hating the words even as they escape my lips. While they're preoccupied, we make a run for it. Okay, Savannah says. I feel her shaking with fear. I grab her, and both of us run with all the strength we can muster with us. The orcs are too dumb, too preoccupied with destruction, to even notice us as we reach the outer gate of the outpost. I can almost smell the forest when I hear it. A commanding, sinister orc voice that makes my teeth grind together and my heart ratchet up. Seize them! The orc bellows across the courtyard, calling all eyes onto us as we enter the deadliest part of our journey, the open field stretching toward the too distant forest. Almost there, I think, desperation and determination fueling each step. The forest looms closer. If we can just make it, maybe, just maybe, we'll stand a chance. Fuck, they've seen us! I hear Savannah's voice crack with fear as we dart behind a gnarled oak tree. The guttural roars of the orcs grow louder, their heavy footsteps thundering through the forest floor like an impending storm. Keep moving! I yell back to her, my heart pounding in my chest like a goddamn jackhammer. We weave between trees and underbrush, our breaths coming in ragged gasps. As we sprint deeper into the woods, I glance over my shoulder, catching sight of the hulking forms of our pursuers. Their snarls and grunts echo through the trees, urging me to keep running. How the fuck are they still keeping up? It's like they're made of pure muscle and rage. Julius! Over there! Savannah points to a narrow ravine up ahead, its sheer walls offering little in the way of escape. But it might just be enough. Jump! I shout, taking a leap of faith and praying that we'll make it across. My heart leaps into my throat as I feel the empty air beneath me. But somehow, my feet find purchase on the other side. Savannah follows suit, her face pale and eyes wide with terror. Savannah's breath comes in ragged gasps, her eyes darting around as we weave through the dense underbrush. The forest seems to come alive around us. Branches whip at our faces, roots reach up to trip us, and insects buzz angrily in our ears. Julius! She calls out, panic rising in her voice. They're gaining on us! Stay focused, I grit out, my own heart pounding like a jackhammer in my chest. We just need to break their line of sight. I duck beneath a low-hanging branch, wincing as it scrapes across my face. Pain blossoms, sharp and hot, but I force myself to ignore it. The only thing that matters right now is staying one step ahead of those bloodthirsty orcs. Over here! Savannah shouts, motioning toward a thick tangle of bushes and vines. It's not much of a hiding spot, but it might just buy us some time. We dive into the undergrowth, hoping against hope that it'll be enough to throw off our pursuers. Fuck, Julius, Savannah whispers, her body shaking with adrenaline and fear. Do you think they saw us? I don't know, I hiss back, my mind racing with possible escape routes. But we can't stay here for long. Maybe we should just give ourselves up, she suggests, her voice thin and shaky. What if they kill us anyway? What if... Stop, I snap, cutting her off. We're not going down without a fight, Savannah. Remember that. Okay, she murmurs, her eyes wet and glistening with unshed tears. Shh, I whisper, my eyes never leaving the tree line as I strain my ears for any sign of approaching danger. Listen. The forest has gone eerily silent. The only sound is our own ragged breathing. My heart pounds a staccato rhythm in my chest, each beat a silent prayer that we've somehow managed to evade capture. Julius, Savannah breathes, her voice barely audible. I think they've given up. Stay down, I warn, still not daring to believe it. But as the minutes tick by and no orcs come crashing through the brush, hope blossoms in my chest. Fuck, I exhale, letting out a shaky laugh as the adrenaline slowly seeps from my veins. We did it. We're safe. I trust you, Savannah says, looking at me. And to be honest, after all that, I trust me too.